Skies are calm today, but 3 decades ago, a tornado outbreak swept through the Wabash Valley. Jesse Walker joins us now with a look back and the memories that local residents have of that day. Jesse, it was a scary time, wasn't it?
That's right, Mike. 30 years ago today, a major weather event took place in this area, something so rare that it hasn't happened again since, something that left residents of the Wabash Valley with memories that they will never forget. Saturday, June 2nd, 1990 started like most other June mornings with a temperature in the lower 70s, a bit humid and overcast. But what would happen later that day would leave massive damage behind. When the clouds started to break by late morning, that was the fuel for an already explosive atmosphere. Storms started to develop in central Illinois, and they quickly became severe. A tornado watch was first issued for most of Illinois and then one for much of Indiana. There was a lot of what we call wind shear that day. This causes storms to rotate. Rotating storms can produce large hail, damaging wind, and more importantly, they can produce tornadoes. Tornadoes started developing in eastern Illinois by early afternoon, and this trend would continue for several more hours. Here's a close look at the tornado touchdowns in the viewing area. The Terre Haute area was spared, but twisters hit north and south of Terre Haute with stronger tornadoes in the south areas. Here's a look at some of those tornadoes. This was one of the early touchdowns near Dana, Indiana, in an open field. This one was near Lagodi. Notice the dark color of the tornado. The color of the tornado does not determine the power of the tornado, but is determined by the way the sun is hitting the storm and what the storm is moving over. For example, this one is near Worthington, Indiana, and is very light in color. This one is moving over an open area of vegetation and picking up some moisture. Some of the storms that day extended up to 50,000 feet into the atmosphere. Of all of the tornadoes that hit our viewing area that day, one of the strongest took a direct hit on Newton, Illinois, and it left a resident there with a memory she will never forget.
So we keep going. We get to the Y out here at 130 and 33 where they connect, and I saw the tornado. Or we tell him, we saw the tornado at the Y. Let's go. We got to find somewhere with a basement. We don't have any. We didn't have any protection at all. He gets in his car, I get in with him, and then my dad following us. We start up our street, which we're headed west, and my husband said, there's a tornado at the end of our street. We can't go anywhere. We pulled right back into our driveway. My dad said, what are you doing? And we said, the tornado's coming. We got to get in the house. But like I said, it was just that quick, and it was over. I mean, it was just like it went from, it was the darkness, and then it was light, and it was just that quick.
A little rare to see in this area, the Newton tornado is what we call a multiple vortex tornado. You can see little tornadoes inside making the larger tornadoes. These tend to be larger, do more damage, and last longer. It was rated an F4 out of a 5 scale. There were no deaths, even with all of the damage. Now, this tornado was seen between Monroe City and Petersburg, Indiana. It would go on to be the deadliest tornado of the day. It was also rated an F4, but unlike Newton, Petersburg had 6 people killed. One half of Petersburg was destroyed. Other deaths in the area included 2 in the Bedford area and 1 in Putnam County. Total damage from the outbreak in 3 states was 313 homes destroyed, with 238 of those in Indiana. There were 892 homes damaged and 670 of those in Indiana. That's 75% of the damage from the entire outbreak happening in the state of Indiana. In total, there were 65 tornadoes in the outbreak, with Indiana seeing 37, which is a record for a one-day total. There were 7 F4 tornadoes, and the outbreak left 9 dead, 6 in Petersburg. Tornado season here in the Wabash Valley is actually April, May, and June. However, tornadoes can and have happened in every month of the year.
All right, Jesse,
Wow.
thanks a lot for that look back. Wasn't that something, Dana?
And all that video, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Those tornadoes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say this, behind that lady was Welcome Jesse Walker, WTWO. That's very nice. All right. Well, just 1 month from now,